This is the final question, question number 4 on homework number 3. The question says, what is the area of this triangle? Hint, you'll need to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the height. So when we see this area of triangle, we know that the area formula is A equals 0.5 base times height. That's for a triangle. If we look at what we're given, this right here is 12. So if I was going to use 12 as the base, I would need to know from here, drop a line straight down to make a right angle. That would be my height. And we're not given that height. So we can't plug in anything for h yet. Notice right here it says you'll need to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the height. So if I were to cover this up, I have a right triangle right here. If I know this side and this side, I can find this side. So let's hold off on filling this in for just a minute, and we'll go ahead and write our Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We know that c squared is going to be our hypotenuse. So I'm going to draw my arrow out of the right angle to find my hypotenuse, and we know that's 10. So my c squared is going to be 10 squared. And then a and b, it doesn't matter what order I put them in. But let's remember that we're just doing this triangle because that's where the right angle is. We can't do the whole thing because there's no right angle in the whole thing. So let's use this side right here. If I know this whole thing is 12, and I dropped a line straight down to cut it in half, then I know that half of it is going to be 6. So I can plug that in for a or b, it doesn't matter. I'm going to plug it in for a. I'm going to say 6 squared. And then b squared is going to be this last side right here. We don't know that yet. So I'm going to keep it as b squared. Then I can go ahead and expand these. So 6 squared would be 6 times 6 plus b squared equals 10 squared would be 10 times 10. 6 times 6 is going to be 36 plus b squared. 10 times 10 is going to be 100. Now we're left with an integer, a variable, and an integer, so we need to move the integer over to this side. Right now it's positive 36. We need to subtract 36 on both sides. This cancels out. I'm left with b squared. 100 minus 36. If we borrow, this becomes a 1 or 0. That becomes a 10. Borrow from the 10. That becomes a 9 and a 1. 10 minus 6 is going to be 4. 9 minus 3 is going to be 6. And 0 minus nothing is nothing. So b squared is 64. Our final step is to take the square root of both sides. Square root and square cancel out. So we're left with b equals square root of 64 is going to be 8. So that's not the area. We didn't find the area. We just found b. We had a was this 6 right here. C was the 10, and so b is going to be 8 right in the middle. So now if we go back to what we were originally trying to figure out, it says, what is the area of this triangle? We couldn't plug in height because we didn't know this length right here, but now we know it. So now I can plug in my base as 12. That's the whole base of this triangle. My height as 8. Now we can multiply our whole numbers right here. So 0.5 times 12 times 8 would be 96. And then you're going to solve the rest of this. 0.5 times 96, and you need your square units. Whatever you get is your answer.